Hello everyone and welcome to first episode of Total War Warhammer 3 Battle Reports. I'm DK and this is Defense of Great Skull Lakes. Let's start. Right, so quick explanation of what happened. At around turn 20 of my Astragoth Ironhand campaign, a minor Vampire Counts faction from Silver Pinnacle declared war on me. They marched two armies through the corridor and threatened factory settlement in my starting province. Astragoth, being on the other hand of my empire, could not assist, so I had to recruit what I can, push construction of settlement to tier 2 and build walls by sacrificing hundreds of laborers. I picked up Lore of Metal Chaos the Sorcerer and 3 regiments of renown. With 11 units now in my garrison, I had 15 to defend against Vampire Swarm. However, there were also 2 Vargulfs, a Mortis Engine, Corpse Cart with Unholy Lodestone, Black Knights, Bats, Wolves and other nasty creatures among hordes of skeletons and zombies. I set my force on a capture point in a corner, which proved to be an excellent defense position, with barricades positions on both entrances and a clear line of sight for blunderbusses. My tactical idea was to hold this objective while using the speed advantage of Hobgoblin Wolf Riders to recapture lost points. But in order for the plan to work, I would have to clear all fast enemy units. So, that's how the battle started. I used Wolf Riders to drag Knights into line of sight of my blunderbuss unit, to shred them to pieces. Next, there were Fellbats, which would be quite nasty if they landed on my ranged units while Vampire frontline collapsed on my shield wall, which would effectively prevent me from doing any damage. So they had to be dealt with, and that's exactly what I did. Again, Hobgoblin Wolf Riders got their attention, made them overextend and get shot to death with combined volley from Hobgoblin Archers, Blunderbusses units and a Lord. He helped with his pistol as well. I also tried to drag Dire Wolves into shooting range, however I noticed that enemy reinforcements have arrived, and so my light cavalry was in danger of being stuck inside the settlement. I was a bit hesitant, as I really wanted to pull some more units to my position, but eventually I had to make a call and run out while I still can. At this point I also had enough resources to build an explosive tower, which is great for clearing big blobs of infantry. My Oglakan Wolf Boys almost got caught by Crypt Horrors on the way out. They managed to escape in the last moment, only losing 1 or 2 models in the process. Very close call there. Since Crypt Horrors got to attack a couple of strugglers, I had to constantly give move orders so they don't get bogged down in a melee, which they would lose, and I really needed this unit. Once they were safe outside of narrow streets of the town, the battle took a slower pace. I had time to reposition my units on the objective and figure out what to do next, as the main force approached. I also noticed that reinforcements were moving very slow, which was good, as their units would come into combat with my main force one by one, providing me with local advantage. At this moment, I saw Mortis Engine moving ahead of the rest of the force, so thought that it would be good to try to take him out. It has regen, but it's a big target, easy to hit, and I had fire arrows, which should help. However, I also used half of Oglakan ammunition, so I wasn't sure if it will be enough damage to take him down completely. First volley and 1000 health gone. Meanwhile, my ranged units were taking out some zombies on the left, while a lone Vargulf was charging across the bridge to the right. I pulled my blazing beards of Brunsbeck away from the barricade and gave him a blunderbuss treatment. At this stage I was constantly switching attention from objective to Wolf Riders and back, trying not to get caught by surprise on any side. Oglakans were actually doing amazing work against Mortis Engine, bringing it already at half HP. The Vargulf on the right flank actually triggered the Hunger ability to regenerate in melee, so I had to remove warriors back to concentrate fire on him before it becomes even bigger problem. As the barricade held the monster for now, I once again turned to Mortis Engine, and at this point I really started thinking I might take it down. However, the rest of infantry was closing in, so I had to micro Wolf Riders carefully to not get in melee with anti-large skeleton warriors. Once the guns got clear line of sight to Vargulf, he died quickly, just in time before another wave of enemies was rushing in. With last volley of Wolf Riders, Mortis Engine started to crumble. Crypt Horrors charged into Blunderbuss on the left barricade, but were met by flaming arrows of Hobgoblins. Oglakans got charged by Moguls as they hold the retreat until very last second to finish their prey. Slaughter raged on all sides. Finally, after lingering at just 2 health points, Mortis Engine went down. The forces of Disciples of Hashut had the upper hand now, but the battle was still not over. The Hobgoblin Wolf Riders was still the most important unit, so I had to focus attention on getting them out of unfavorable combat. At this moment, the Vampire Lord finally joined the fray, charging at my warriors on the barricade. With his best units already dead and his infantry still trying to get to position, he was exposed to combined fire from Chaos Dwarves and Hobgoblins. He then tried to kill my lord, but it was too late. The trap was set, guns fired, and he went down in a couple of volleys. The battle was effectively over. The vampires were dying left, right and center, but they still didn't give up. The Kane raid started approaching as Oglakans finally moved behind enemy lines to fulfill their main mission from the start of the battle, recapturing lost objectives. Corpses of twice dead piled up in front of barricades as defenders of Great Skull Lakes took a moment to rest. Finally, the enemy infantry reached my lines, but now without support from the Vampire Lord and his monsters, they had little to give. As the towers smashed their ranks, the Chaos Dwarf Sorcerer remembered he knows magic too and dropped the Searing Doom on their heads. They found no better luck in melee, as Blazing Beards unleashed canister shots, instantly killing half of the unit. On the other side, Wolf Riders were still trying to squeeze through enemy ranks, carefully avoiding to get bogged down in combat. Cairn raids, even with massive physical resistance, could not withstand fire from Blunderbuss's archers and magic. But at this moment, the Necromancer took over the command from his dead sire and led his forces into final push. He sent his second Vargoth on a rampage to smash barricade and into the Chaos Dwarf's lines, but with no success, as he went down as fast as his brother. Mughals attacked the left flank, with the same luck, as Hobgoblins fired arrow after arrow at these monstrosities, as Cain raids also went down on the right. Chaos Dwarfs reshuffled their broken line, preparing for the next wave. Another canister shot from Blazing Beards and another unit almost wiped out. The battle is over, there's nothing else vampires can do, as I wait for army losses to kick in. Oglakan still trying to get to some objectives. In the end they didn't, but it didn't matter after all. I want to take this moment to say how amazing defensive battles can be in Warhammer 3. However, they are very rare, as the AI will hardly ever attack player settlements unless they are certain of winning. The only reason I actually had this fight is because Chaos Dwarf mechanics to build quickly. Vampires actually saw a weak, undefended settlement and thought it would be an easy prey, so they forced march two armies close by the turn before. Once I pushed construction up in a single turn, it was already too late for them to back off, and since odds were still in their favor, they made the attack. If it was well-fortified factory just one turn earlier, the AI would never approach, maybe wouldn't even declare war in the first place. Yeah, anyway, in the end it was a heroic victory to Davizar forces, well-deserved one I think. I really had fun in this fight, I hope you liked it as well. There will be more better reports coming, so like, subscribe and hit that bell button if you want to get notified. Take care all, and I'll see you on the battlefield.